Hello and welcome to another episode of Fight On Montana, your one-stop shop for Grizzly athletics. Your updates on players, your updates on events. Today we're going to be talking about the basketball tourney that is starting this week, and also we're going to get into spring football. How you doing, Angel?
Oh, not too bad, Adam. How you doing?
Good. I'm ready to talk some basketball and some spring football, man.
Yeah, 100%. What a weird year it's been, huh?
Yeah, I'm just glad we have some sports.
Yeah.
A year ago, it's weird because a year ago I started this podcast, and we were I was going into it and started with basketball, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and just things started shutting down huge. And yeah, I'm just glad we get to see some basketball, man.
Me too, man. I'm tired of the Netflix binges. I need some meal in my life.
Nice.
Exactly.
So, hey, we're going to talk about some men's Big Sky basketball tournament today. So, the men are going to be playing. They're the number 6 seed. They're going to be playing Idaho, I believe, this Wednesday, about 3 o'clock Mountain Time. One thing that I thought was really crazy is those are the only 2 teams that have played the top 3 I believe teams in the Big Sky. So Idaho and Montana have all played the top 3 schools. No one else in the conference has done that. Montana has a better record. I believe they're 12-12, and Idaho is 1-19, maybe 1-20. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I do know that they beat our arch nemesis, the Cats. They split their 2 games. So can't wait to see that and to hear some basketball, man.
And it's just one of those things. I think just in general, you play your best, personally, your best basketball at the end of the season. This is the time. This is crunch time, and it'll be kind of interesting to see. I think obviously when I think about Idaho and I think about Montana, I'm going to choose Montana. I think they have a better record. I think they're stronger just in overall positions, and they just have a better chance opportunity. But that's not to say, sports is absolutely wild. You never know what to expect. I've been part of some games where it should have been the other way around. I've been part of some games where, the unexpected happens. You can only do so much preparation, but you really don't know until you step on that court. It's kind of like that Mike Tyson saying, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Face. Yep.
And it's just one of those things. You don't necessarily know how it's going to roll. So I'm going to go Montana. I think that's a safe bet. But like you said, they've had that top tier competition as far as the conference play. And so it'll be kind of interesting to see how it plays out,
Yeah. And, it's going to be interesting, every Grizz fan, diehard fan knows this year has been nothing even close to what a Grizz basketball fan would expect. There's been ups and downs. We beat Washington this year, which was an at Washington awesome game. We lost to Southern Utah, both games. So there's been some high highs, low lows. And so with new guys coming in, young guys coming in, not knowing the system, not knowing each other. I think at one point before some players left, they had, 8 or 9 players that were new to the system. You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have inconsistent play. What I've liked personally is this team could have cratered, man. This team could have just, hey, we're not good this year. We're done. This team has not done that. It has the Montana grit, that Montana fight. We're going to keep on going. We're playing for ourselves, but we're playing for Montana as well. And so I'd like to see that. You've seen, the last 4 games, they've won 4 straight games coming into this game, 2 versus Idaho State, and then at 2 versus Warner Pacific. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Lesser competition, but they did blow that team out this weekend. If we do win this game, we'll play Weber State, which will be a different kind of level, a different kind of pace. Weber State likes to play fast. Just going into some of the numbers, I love, statistics. I'm kind of a nerd like that. I like to go onto Ken Palm and kind of look on things. And, Idaho, out of the 358 maybe 356 teams. They're ranked 354.
Mm-hmm.
So they're the bottom of the barrel. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're ranked pretty much middle of the barrel, 191.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there's some discrepancies of what we need to see with that game.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is tempo. Montana does not play at a really fast tempo. They play, you know, half court. So what's going to be really key is not limiting the turnovers, limiting fast break points, and then just not having those huge long droughts of, you know, 4 or 5 minutes where you're not getting a basket.
Any points?
The flow, you know,
Yep.
there's sometimes this year where the flow, you know, you have one guy dribbling around and you have 4 other guys looking and standing. So that's going to be key, and just playing with emotion. You know,
Yep.
you know, we don't have any seniors on this team. So, you know, where's the emotion going to come from?
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole new season. This is what's awesome about March Madness is these conference tournaments. These teams, none of these teams are going to get into the tournament just by not playing this tournament.
Exactly.
You know, they have to win this tournament. They have to win this tournament to get into the big tournament. So a lot of these games are going to be close because you're battling for your life. So
exactly, and I think you brought about a good point. Right now, they're on a hot streak, you know, a 4-game win streak. It's always a confidence booster. Winning any type of game, going on a little run like that, it's going to put them in a great position, you know, to kind of start off the tournament because they know what tasting feels like, and they know what it tastes like to win, and they know what it tastes like to lose. And so right now, I'm sure they're going to say, well, we've earned winning 10 out of 10 times. And so because of that, you know, having that confidence booster coming into the tournament is going to put them in a good place. You know, obviously they have Idaho starting off the tournament, and so that's going to put them in a position to really kind of get their feet wet because it's like you said, it's a whole new season. You know, it's a little different ball game. You know, playoffs as compared to regular season play when I was playing football, it was 360. You know, and anytime anybody plays Montana, you're going to get their best shot.
Exactly.
You know? And so that's a huge thing too. You're not just playing, you know, Idaho at the beginning. You know, you're playing Idaho that wants to rip your head off, you know, especially because of that rivalry. So it's kind of interesting to see how it's going to go because everybody gives Montana the best shot. And like you had mentioned as well, they have such a young team. You know, I think looking at the numbers, they're like, I think you had mentioned that they're in the top 10 percentile of playing time for freshmen.
Yeah, they're pretty far up there. You know, I don't know the number off the base of my head. I heard the number. They're in the top per minutes for players.
That's what you said.
Yeah, for freshmen having those minutes. You know, we've had a lot of freshmen. You know, Josh Bannon, Brandon Whitney, Robbie Beasley have those minutes. And this is something that isn't being talked about either. Angel is. All these guys aren't losing a year of eligibility.
Oh yeah.
So you know, this is a free year. You know, if they don't want it to count against their eligibility, it doesn't count. They're still freshmen next year.
Exactly.
So this is just benefiting Montana. Just to go into some of the numbers that I forgot to go into, you know, tempo, you know, we're ranked 302nd in tempo. That's why I mentioned, you know, that the flow, you know, we're ranked 171 in defense, which, you know, you can kind of know that because, you know, Coach DeCure preaches defense. If you're not playing defense, you're not going to be on that court. You know, our offense is kind of middle of the pack. We're ranked 230, but, you know, it's not too far off with Idaho. You know, Idaho's tempo is 253, you know, and then their offense and their defense are ranked in the bottom, way bottom of the barrel, but their tempo was a little bit faster than ours. So, you know, I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means. It's a conference tournament. It's going to be, if you don't bring it, you're going to get whooped. So, I don't think Montana's going to overlook these guys. No. I think they have their sights set on their goals, and their goals is to make a third straight NCAA tournament. And so,
and I think kind of long term as far as, because I remember when I first came in, it got to a point after that first year, we were a relatively really young team. And it took a couple of years to kind of rebuild the program, and every year it was just a little better, and every year was a little better. And obviously that senior year, we finally broke that kind of curse. We made it to the playoffs, made a little bit of a run, that type of stuff, and it's only going to get better on. And that's why I'm really excited for this year. And I feel like this young basketball team is kind of on that same route. They're kind of going through the trials and tribulations. They're kind of, that tempo is only going to go up. And it comes with experience. It comes with that leadership. Guys are going to find their roles on their team. And I think if they buy into the program and accept their roles, whether it be a leadership position, whether it be a follower position, and I think really kind of buy into the program like that and really take the coaching, really take, everything in between, all that. I think they're going to set themselves up for success for this next couple of years to come. Like you said, Travis is a defensive guy. And I'm sure with that comes with kind of increasing that tempo as well in general, and I think they're going to do a good job about doing it. It's just really kind of finding guys to really kind of fit the role. I mean, they're a year out of high school, a lot of those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. You hear NFL, you hear collegiate, the biggest change in collegiate sports is the tempo, is the speed. A lot of people can hang with it. And so it's an adjustment period for them. And so that's what it really is. But other than that, kind of thinking about that, that's still impressive in my eyes that it's such a young team and they're nowhere near. You would expect them to be at the bottom of the barrel. You would expect, especially because they're such a young team. But that just goes to show the type of talent, the type of grit, the type of toughness and pride that these guys come with every single day, that they're nowhere near the bottom of the barrel.
Exactly.
A fighting chance, and they put themselves in a position to succeed and make a run. It really just depends how the pieces kind of fall when it's all said and done.
Well, and you mentioned something that I want to kind of go on to is, there's a lot of freshmen that haven't played in, a conference tournament. But if you go back, our sophomores have not played in the conference tournament either because last year it got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled.
So you've got even more, lack of what is going to happen? What is this going to feel like? There's not going to be too many fans, I believe, in the arena, so it's not going to be a packed house like it usually is. But you're going to have, a kind of a weird. It's not going to be a home game. It's not going to be a road game. It's going to be in a bigger arena. There's going to be a lot more people there with photographers and stuff like that. And a huge different kind of pressure that they probably have never faced. This is do or die time. Exactly. And this is where the rubber meets the road. And you're going to really see who has that grit, who has that. And I like to call it the assassin type attitude. Saeed Pridgett had that assassin attitude, man, where he got into the zone and he was not going to be denied.
Exactly.
He was going to load up everybody on his back. He's going to do whatever it took. Who's going to have that assassin mentality and kind of step up and say, hey, I'm the leader. This is my game. This is my team. Let's go. And that's something that we've lacked kind of all year. There's been some great players that have stepped up that have shown that for a game, but I don't think we've seen that for a longer period of time. And that's going to happen with younger guys. And our older guys, have left. Some of them have left this year. And Mac Anderson is our oldest guy. He's a junior this year. And he's just last year he just started getting into the groove. This year he's got a little bit more of an expanded role. And so you don't have a senior on the team. So
exactly. And that's also comes with just establishing the culture. Like you said last year, not only the freshmen, it's their first time kind of going into a championship kind of tournament like this, but on top of that, the sophomores didn't have that opportunity last year, which they earned. They qualified, they were going to go and really hopeful about the season. But then you saw how it played out. The pandemic kind of hit and they called the season short, so it kind of sucks for the players because, they earned that right to be there and it would have been an awesome experience. But now thinking it from a coach's perspective, you got to start all over again. You have two generations of basketball players that are still learning the culture they're still learning that, hey, you know what, the championship, the tournament that we're going to is something that we earn every single year, and it's expected. So establishing those expectations for the players, but since they missed last year, it's kind of hard to do it when there's not even a tournament to have, So this is really kind of a huge building year. But I'm never going to rule them out. Like I said, I think I had mentioned to you before the call that they've had some flashes of brilliance. They have a relatively strong home record. Their away record is kind of where they struggle. So does that necessarily mean that they're not qualified? No, that means that, hey, you know what? They're learning how to adapt, to going to somebody else's home turf to play. They're learning how to adapt and get comfortable playing at home too. So there's a lot of small learning curves and learning objectives they got to kind of hurdle and jump through in order to get to where they want to go. So I'm really hopeful for the team. I think they're a talented team, and I think, like I keep mentioning, they're going to put them in a position to succeed for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. I the potential of this team, the guys that are coming in, I know one of them that I've talked to, and we have an episode here in the near future with a recruit that Jonathan Braggs, another great guy, great player, came from a huge basketball area down in Bishop Gorman in Arizona. And so, and then some other guys that I believe so from Montana, there's another guy that's coming in next year, the year after. So, it's going to be kind of weird to see how many players leave. And I was talking to one of my friends about this is since no one has losing eligibility, and this is way off, but what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the teams? There's going to be and you probably know it, when you don't experience success, you see some players dig in their holes, or you see players jump ship. And with the transfer portal, that's an easy way just to jump ship and say, hey, I'm out of here. I've got a year. I don't have a free year. I can go somewhere else. It looks, the grass is always greener on the other side. But it'll be interesting to see what happens to teams. I don't think we're going to lose too many people. I think we've kind of lost our guys that I think would have left here in the beginning of the year and then at the end of the year. But it'll be interesting to see other teams and what happens to them.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you said, it's a free year, so being able to have that year, there's I've seen many players that I came in that I thought for sure were going to stick around, but for one reason or another, that's their reasoning. And I'm not necessarily against it or for it. It's just one of those things. It's like, there's a reason for it. But like you said, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. Sometimes there's personal issues that they're going through. So you never know from a fan perspective what really looks like. But what you see is, okay, well, they're not committed to the program. Those are kind of the generic answers. So I kind of challenge a lot of listeners and viewers to look at it from a different perspective, to say, hey, you know what? It may not just be the right fit. It may not be the right time. The offense might be exactly what their strengths kind of help highlight. So there's a multitude of reasons. So I think keeping that open perspective is really kind of helps in understanding, like, okay, well, there's other reasons as opposed to they just didn't like Montana. Because 10 out of 10 times so far in the conversations that I've had with a lot of guys, they love the culture. They love the community. They love the parts that come with, Montana football, Montana basketball, men's and women's sports, tennis, everything. They fall in love with the place. And there's a reason for that. It's an awesome place and an awesome community to be a part of. But there's also underlying, kind of questions there and concerns that may kind of convince them to say, hey, there's an opportunity at another school where there'd be more playing time or, just a better trajectory to potentially make it. Because I'd like to believe that all athletes do this, one, because, they're part of something bigger and so they love representing the community. And then two, it's also, you get an opportunity of a lifetime to potentially make it to the big leagues, set your family up for success, set yourself up for success, and kind of bring about pride and, kind of, what's another term? Pride and along those lines, I guess.
You put me on the spot, man. I was just like, pride. I don't have my dictionary here, man.
Yeah, I don't have all the answers, man. So just kind of a sense of pride knowing that they're able to represent, kind of their roots, and Montana is included in that, and at the highest level of competition. And I think there's So like kind of going back to what you said is it'll just be kind of interesting to see how it kind of plays out, but like you said, I'm relatively confident that the guys that left for whatever reason, they left already. And so the guys that are here, I think they're going to stay here to, kind of see how this plays out. And, they're optimistic about the future. And so we'll kind of see how it goes too.
Yeah. I'm excited. I love the pieces that we have. So, hey, let's jump into some spring football, man.
Oh man, let's do it.
You ready?
Oh, before that,
yeah.
we also give a shout out to the women's basketball team.
Oh gosh, I'm losing my mind, man.
Forget that, man. What are we doing?
Gosh.
No, yeah, I think their tournament starts today, I believe, right?
I believe today. Yeah.
Today they've the game number 1 is against Sac State. They play today. I think they're game number 3, I believe.
Okay. Did they already play? I'm gonna check the scores. So
yeah.
But they played today again, I believe, against Sac State as well, or Sac State. Yeah, like you were saying.
It was kind of the same situation because we're the number 6 seed in that tournament as well. I think Sac State was number 11 too, kind of similar to the Idaho kind of men's Montana team. Interesting enough and cool enough is that we have some third teamers on the Montana team.
Yep.
We have it in Abby Anderson and then Carmen. I always like to say G Feller, but I think it's just Feller.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know the distinction if it actually is G Feller or just Feller. But still, they both got voted onto the third team. I think Carmen's I believe she's a sophomore.
I believe so. And
then Abby, I think she's either a junior or senior. But still, I mean, shout out to them. Awesome accolades, being able to represent the team like that. And so they're kind of in a similar situation as the men's team as well. It kind of really depends. You never know with sports in general, but still at the same time, they're in the great position to at least start off the tournament and give them kind of that juice to get a win under their belt, hopefully, and kind of take it from there to see how far they can go.
They are playing actually as we speak right now.
As we speak. There you go.
As we speak. And just a little highlights is this is the first year of Coach Petrino. I'm always going to say his name wrong. It's a first year head coach. So sorry, my dog is trying to chew at my cord. New pup. So this is his first year. So, having, the season that they did, I think the sky is the limit with what they're doing there. They're building the culture. Like we said earlier, is you've got to build that culture first, and then get your players that you need for your system. But from all accounts, man, I think that this group, and farther down the line, they can kind of restore because, women's basketball has been a cornerstone of Montana for a long time with Robin Selvig the great coach that he was. So, we've had a lot of good women's teams, a lot of good men's teams. And so we wish them luck and we're cheering them on. So
return to dominance, man. That's all it really is.
Exactly.
Establishing the culture and they're getting used to a new coaching staff and just have a new kind of system. So just like anything else, that's how it was when Bob Stitt came in. It took a second to kind of pick up, kind of everything we needed to kind of learn and understand when it came to his style of football. And the same thing with kind of Bobby Houck when he came in. It was a transition period. It was a learning curve. It was a rebuilding, a rebranding, and so it's different. It's like that for every coach that comes in. So they're in a good place, and I think they have some awesome individuals on that team, both the men's and women's. And I'm really excited, just for the future of both programs.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are going to be jumping from basketball into spring football.
Oh, that's good, man.
We have, less than a couple weeks? A couple weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
April 10th is our first spring game.
Oh, I'm so excited, dude. You have
exactly.
No idea.
April 10th, Central Washington. Yep. So they're part of I believe the GNAC, the Great Northwest Athletic Conference, which where I went to school, my alma mater, we played them. But also April 17th against Portland State. I've also heard, there's rumblings out there that there might be a third game.
Mhm.
Possibly it'll be the first week of April.
Mhm.
And so, if they do that third game, man, we've got football. We've got
Yeah.
football in 2 weeks, a little
Oh
over
yeah.
2 weeks, man.
Oh man, it's so exciting. It's absolutely incredible, man. Just thinking about, like you said, Central Washington. I was kind of surprised though. I thought for a while they were gonna. I didn't think that they were gonna schedule anybody from the actual conference to actually play. So that was a surprise to me because it was just finalized. How many weeks ago? Fairly recent.
Yeah. Well, the Portland State game that was last week.
Yeah, last week.
They formalized that one last week, which was a surprise to me.
Mhm.
I'm for it. We don't play
Because
them next.
they don't play regular season now, huh?
No, they don't play next year.
Yeah.
So it kind of lined up perfectly.
Yeah.
In Central Washington is D2. One thing that I would like to get into is the guarantee, the money. So you're going to have to pay people to come in and play. That's just you can't get around that.
Yeah.
But one thing is Portland State's getting 36,000 guaranteed, and Central Washington is getting 35. So, no, to me, I want to know your opinion. I just think that maybe is that a slight? Is that a slight to Portland State saying, "Hey, we're going to give you, just one more grand, and you're in the same conference as us. This is guaranteed money, so it's not going away. We are going to be, losing that. Now it depends on the health department as well. So these games aren't solidified and scheduled, but." What are your thoughts, Angel? Do you think that it's a slight to Portland State, or is it, hey, Central Washington, they do have a pretty good team coming back. Let's reward them.
You know what? I think at the end of the day, it was really along the lines of, hey, what's best for the players right now? And I think giving them the taste of football, is really kind of their priority. I think the money wasn't necessarily the focal point of the discussion. It was more along the lines of, hey, can we make this work? Can we bring football to the stadium? It'll be great, kind of a feel point for both teams to kind of see where they're at, maybe come up with some strengths, maybe come up with some weaknesses. So I think it was mutually beneficial on so many levels, but I do think the actual money aspect of it was kind of low on the list. It was just one of those things. It's okay, well, we know we want to do this. Let's just throw a number out there and see if it'll work out. It's not necessarily about the money, but at the same time, these are two different organizations, two different, obviously the universities thrive on, making money in order to make things work like this. So I don't necessarily know that answer to that. I guess it's up to the fans. I guess, I'm throwing it out there to the fans right now. Reach out to us. Let us know what you guys think.
Exactly.
Give us your opinions, those types of things. And we'll take into consideration, and you might get featured, comments and, concerns on the next podcast. So that's kind of for the fans to kind of figure out, because I'm kind of indifferent about it. I'd like to think that it was majority about football, but who knows? Someone might have a different opinion on it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we'll get 2 games, possibly 3.
Yeah.
I can't wait. We'll see what will happen.
Curiosity. What do you think you'd want to see, in those football games? What are you looking for? From our side of the football.
Like what? Like as a fan, or like as a if I'm looking at as a coach wise.
Let's do both. As a fan, what you to see, and as kind of as a kind of a football mindset, what strength are you looking for on the offense, on defense? Is special team a role for what role does that play for you? Those types of things.
Well, I want to see like personally, using this as a platform for the spring. I would like to see your second string guys get reps. You can only, and this is better than me, you can only lift so much weight and go against your brother on the other side for so long, where, hitting someone that has a different colored jersey than you is just, it's not the same. And so, getting reps for those starters and those backups, I would love to have some, give some of that reward where it's given. If there's a guy that's been playing and working hard and being a leader, show it. Say, hey, this guy is going to get some more reps. He's been working his tail off. And also, I just want no one to get hurt.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't want either side, anyone to get hurt. I just want this to be a clean game, a build off of last year. Okay. So, last year was the tipping point where you got to see the culture meet the expectation, and it almost live up to Grizz, what is expected. If we would have won one more game, the buzz would have been huge. And I think it would have been huge. So I want to kind of see how the Grizz build off of that.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go from there? So right now, QB is going to be essential. I would love to see, I'm going to be watching the QB and seeing how many reps, who gets the starts. And then also, your guys, man, your O-line, the big guys that make the game what it is. And that's where you win the game. There's been some great recruiting. Bobby loves to have, 8, 12 deep in the offensive line. He said that before. I think some of the guys that they have coming in are talented, are young, and they bring back a good group that are working hard, that are hard nosed, that they want to live up to what happened last year, and they're hungry. And I think everyone on that team is hungry just because they didn't get a fall and they didn't get a spring. And so what are your thoughts, Angel?
Well, there's a combination of things when I think about, just how last year kind of ended. Obviously, the guys that were able to stick around that still had, another year eligibility or another 2 years, 3 years, whether they be freshmen, sophomores, juniors. I think now that they got a taste of what it's like to be in the playoffs, I think they have an expectation that there's no reason why we don't belong there. So that's kind of priority number one. So that kind of started off. On top of that, how you mentioned, they didn't get that fall season. It's been a weird year. They've been away from football for such a very long time. So one of the things, obviously, with that, it's just such a weird year. So it's kind of out of habit. You get in a routine of every single year that, you're told when to wake up, when to have breakfast, when to go work out, when to eat again, what are your classes like, when to practice, until kind of a year of uncertainty where it was kind of like the coach kind of like, we don't even know what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. I could only imagine what that player feels like that relies so heavily on the program itself. Now they're to the point where it's like, okay, we're getting back into a routine. We miss it. We want it back again. We're familiar with the routine of what those practices are like, what those lifts are like. We're going to school on top of that, juggling, 3-4 things at once. Some of those guys, working as well. And so it's really kind of those things that they're ready to get back into football. And then when it comes to actually watching the game, one of the things that I think is just so you think about specific positions, obviously, blocking, you play quarterback play, receiver play, defensive play, all those types of things. But one of the things that I'm kind of interested in watching is the timing of things. What do those handoffs look like? How those outside sweeps, are they going to run some outside sweeps? Are they going to, go for the long balls? Are they going to go quick, short passes? What's that mesh going to be like, the relationship? Because, I'm sure those guys have been practicing and meeting up and, but it's been probably on their own accord. Who knows? As opposed to, having those coaching structured practices, kind of how they normally do it. And so I think the timing is really going to be important. It's going to be one of those things that's going to shake off the rust. It's going to expose where they need to get kind of better in their strengths. And they're going to be, okay, well, we need to get better in the run game. We like to be a little more consistent with that, And so establishing those key performance indicators that kind of put them in a position to say, hey, we're good at this, but we can be better. Hey, this is a strength of ours, but we need to pick it up. I think it's going to be huge to kind of see how it plays off, how the timing of the handoffs, what kind of holes we're able to kind of open up. So I'm interested to kind of see it as a whole, from the offensive side, from the defensive side too, kind of saying, hey, are they able to handle certain type of blocks? Can they handle double teams? Can they handle single blocks on the outside? How are they kind of reacting to that offensive shifts? What if they come out with something that, they didn't expect just because it's football? You don't know what they're going to line up, and all you can do is give your best educated guess and play it off of that. you know?
Exactly.
And so it'll be kind of interesting to see how it kind of plays off, how it progresses. And I think it's one of those things. I heard this quote this one time. He was just like, if you're a fighter, you never want your first punch to be in the actual game or in the actual fight, you know? So now that they've been practicing, they're getting kind of that rust off. They kind of get to see, hey, what's their punch like? You know, do they got to tweak some things? We got to change some things, and it's really going to kind of put them in a position to say, okay, we got some work to do. Because in football, there's always something to be done, and so I think that's the crazy part. And so really, the sky's the limit for this team. I'm really excited to see where they take it. They're strong at so many positions, majority positions. I don't think I can list one weakness that they really have when it comes to talking about the depth that they have. You know, and
that's what was crazy last year is. I was, doing my, depth chart and kind of seeing where the holes were and everything. And it was crazy because, you lose some people in cornerback and stuff like that. And, from all accounts, oh man, that's one area. And boom, 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 you get some high quality transfers from, I believe Oregon State, Louisville. And so you've got D1 talent on the outside. Now, yes, they haven't played and they don't know the system, but when you've got D1 talent on the outside, that opens up a whole lot. And if they can go one-on-one and you can just let your safeties go and you've got your linebackers, it kind of gives you a new level of what that defense can do. We've got some holes to fill with Dante leaving and also just with some new players coming in that are going to have to fill that spot. It's weird saying Dante because it's been like a year and a half.
Yeah. But that was like the most recent thing,
Yeah. I'm like, wait, is that true? I'm like, yeah, that's true.
I think Jace is going to come and absolutely kill it, though. I know Jace personally. Jace is fantastic, not only a great football player, but he's an even better man. And I can say that about every single guy on that football team. Not only are they great players, they're great men in general. And I think because of that, Bobby's done such a great job in recruiting guys that are passionate about football, that care about the program, that really instill that pride and tradition of the Montana Grizzlies into their everyday life and their everyday culture. Because of that, buying into the program is the biggest thing, and I think it's going to yield success. Obviously, I think I'm getting a little bit too hyped right now. I'm going to try to turn it down. I'm too excited. I'm a little too passionate about this, but I think overall, I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for those guys. I think they're putting themselves in a great position to really kind of have a successful, kind of 2022 season, I guess. Oh no, 21 season. Goodness gracious. Can't even one other year, goodness gracious.
It's been a crazy year. It's been a crazy year.
To the cornerback situation, one of the things that I think really benefited them was the fact that they were able to have this extra year. And so that's really kind of where it's going to get interesting. You talk about, hey, adjusting to the program. Well, they've been a part of the program for a year and a half now. They understand, they've been through winter conditioning twice. They've been through, kind of a spring ball. And right now they're in their fall camp kind of situation. And they get these mock games. I think really that experience is really going to help them. And to think about before that, I was already relatively confident with the experience that every position had, thinking personally to offensive line. A lot of those guys played last year too. It was me inside that really kind of graduated, from that offensive line. Now they got the third team or the second team or All-American Conlon Beaver. That's my guy. Shout out Beaver. On top of that, they've had experience at every position going down the line that was in the rotation as a 2 last year, or, that's been around the program for such a long time. So it's really one of those things, man. I'm just excited for the whole unit. It'll be kind of interesting, man. Grizz football, I think, is back, baby. So we'll kind of see how it kind of plays out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, like you said, like a year and a half of work. But that helps the quarterbacks as well, and that's the light's going to be on them the most is who's going to get that job, but also just with getting to know and that bond with players. That I think that is even more of a thing to look at is these guys have had to endure a lot. Not just with pandemic, but hey, how's my family? what's going on. Because, probably realistically, and I don't know the numbers, but realistically, these guys, probably one of them or two of them, or maybe more, probably came down with COVID. And so, as a family member, you grow closer when you go through something hard. And so I just think it helps the team even more because your bond is even stronger going through something like this that no one ever has gone through. None of the coaches, you're going back, way back when, to something like this that has happened. So
exactly. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But like you said, man, that camaraderie, that brotherhood that, we kind of so strongly preach, it's present. And so it'll be exciting to see, kind of how it plays out for itself.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Well, this is going to be fun. I can't wait. I think I'm going to have to take a cold shower to kind of cool down from talking about some football, man. So, it's going to be great. Listeners and, YouTubers, I don't know what the name is for it, but we're going to have more content. We're going to have more videos. We're going to try to bring the best to you because, the content out there is content. We're going to bring content. We're going to bring quality content. And we hope that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We want you to join wherever you get your podcasts at. Either it be Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, or iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, any of those. We are there, and we want to hear from you. So rate and review us. That helps us with the algorithm of how we get our podcasts on those platforms. We want those 5 stars. We want to hear from you. Hey, we want this to happen. Hey, we want this person. We want to hear from this person. Hey, we're going to have a fan forum where we can get some fans on here with us here in the next couple of months where we get some fans on here and we talk as well. So just things that are going to be coming that we're working on. We're going to be giving you our best. And we would like you to join us and join the ride and let us know what you want.
Yep. And follow us on all social media platforms as well. Fight on Montana. Nice and clean and simple. Be sure to give us a follow. Shoot us a message if there's certain topics and subjects that you guys want to, kind of really focus on for the following podcast. And just reach out to us and let's connect.
Yep. Awesome.